So in the previous video, we talked about sensory memory. In this video, we're gonna talk about short-term memory naman. So just a review, quick review of sensory memory. Pinag-usapan natin yung echoic and iconic memory, how information from the external world goes into our nervous system through our senses, right? And this is where we have the sensory memory. So maraming information ang makukuha natin, but only a few will be entering the short-term memory. So it's because of selective attention. We only translate to short-term memory a few of those information. So if you notice yan, short-term memory, merong maintenance, rehearsal, and selective attention. If it's unrehearsed, the information is lost in about 15 to 30 seconds, 12 to 30 seconds. Basta yan yung ballpark figure. So ano nga ba ang short-term memory? Yan yung pag-uusapan natin in this video. And there's a difference between short-term memory and working memory. So yung short-term memory is like your desk, as mentioned in the book, the metaphor that was put in the book. Kung ang short-term memory mo ay yung desk, yung working memory mo ay yung files that are on the desk. So, anong difference nun? The files themselves, nag-interact kayo with them. You write on them, you take notes on them, you read them, so it's very active, right? It's very active compared to the desk that is just there, okay? And it's a way for you to, work with the information that you have on hand. Okay? Yung short-term memory, meron siyang capacity na 3 to 5 items. And again, pinag-usapan natin yung duration niya. And important yung maintenance rehearsal. Apart from that, yung selective attention din. As mentioned kanina, the sensory memory has a lot of information. And then a few will only be filtered to go to your short-term memory. Parang pag nasa party ka, ang daming sensations. Right? Ang daming information. Whether it's echoic or iconic, haptic, or whatever, maraming information na makukuha or at least ma-observe yung brain mo. But only a few will enter. And ano yung nagde-determine nun? Right? It is determined by the relevance. Kung importante ang information na yan, then it will be filtered. Then it will be attended to. If it's not important, then it will be filtered. Okay, this is what we call the cocktail party effect. Bakit cocktail party effect? If you're in a party, a lot of information, pero when someone says your name, for example, mapapalingon ka because your name is relevant to you, right? You effectively filter out all the other sounds and distractions to concentrate on what's relevant. So, for example, maraming manliligaw siguro dyan sa party. Tapos, minention yung pangalan ng isa doon. Or siguro, mention nyo lahat ng pangalan. Kung saan lumingon yung nililigawan, baka yun yung pinaka-relevant sa kanya. So, na-filter out na yung other suitors. So, that's a nice way of putting it also, or looking at it. That's selective attention. And selective attention, let's start from the right, going to the left. Selective attention is a concept where information is being filtered out. May attenuation. Instead of actually thinking about strengthening yung signal that is relevant to you, it's actually more of lessening the signal strength of the information that are not relevant to you. That's called attenuation. So, na-filter out slowly, right? Yung information that gets processed for the short-term memory. So, the first stage is yung selective attention filter. This is where attenuation happens. And then, second stage is yung processing for the short-term memory. Kung ano man yung relevant dyan. It's a crucial filter. Bago siya maging sensory input for your short-term memory. Alright? So, yun yung idea ng selective attention. Kung ano yung mas relevant, ano yung importante, yun yung papasok sa short-term memory. Okay? And again, yung short-term memory as the desk, we also have the working memory wherein kung ano man yung minamanipulate natin, what we're working with. And it has components. Merong tatlong components. Yung central executive, yung visual spatial sketchpad, and yung phonological loop. So, similar din siya sa iconic and echoic wherein there is information from the visual spatial part or yung aspect ng information, and there's also information that is auditory or verbal in nature. And then the central executive is the one controlling and coordinating the information from the other two components. So yung working memory is really active. It temporarily holds and manipulates information, and this is how it looks like. Merong different information or different kinds of information that goes into your short-term memory, particularly yung working memory mo. Okay? Ano ba yung limits na to? So there are a lot of information, di ba? Sabi natin maraming information. Pero ano ba yung capacity ng short-term memory? There was a nice experiment by, sino ba to? Si George Miller, I think. Ayan, George Miller. Ayan, si George Miller. And some groundbreaking research daw, no? With a digit span test wherein the instructor would say a series of numbers, and then after niya sabihin yung series of numbers, sabihin niya go, and then the person or the participant would write down yung series of numbers. So for example, 6825, the instructor would say that, and then go. Then the participant would write 6825. And then 57214, go, and then the participant would write it also, no? And what did they find out? Going down the line, they found out that yung short-term memory natin, yung capacity niya, yung limit niya is approximately 7 plus or minus 2 items. But they will only show this, no, for, they will only say this for a brief period of time. And yung principle na yun is called, yung Miller's magic number, 7 plus or minus 2 items. But that is without a strategy. Pagka may strategy daw, like chunking, then you can actually expand yung capacity ng short-term memory natin. So, for example, yung numbers na yan, or whenever we say our cell phone number, if you notice, no, parang tumataas yung 0915, 0917. But, yun. So, this is actually a form of chunking. We're grouping the first 4 numbers of our cell phone number. Parang so, dali siya matandaan. Okay? So, that's called chunking. You expand the capacity. Kasi yung cell phone number, parang 11 digits yun, di ba? So, it's beyond the capacity for the short-term memory at least. Pero siguro by this time, nasa long-term memory nyo naman na yung number ng crush nyo. Long-term memory na yung number ninyo. Diba? So that's working memory. There's also, I just want to also emphasize before I end this video, yung difference ng working memory in its practical application. So yung difference niya is that yung maintenance rehearsal that is used to consolidate information in the short-term memory going into the long-term memory is more useful in structured problem solving. So for example, in complex math problems, very structured yun. So yung maintenance rehearsal, particularly yung maintenance rehearsal na technique, it helps us retain data, pero depende siya sa task. So pagka inulit mo yung information, okay, helpful siya in, for example, solving math problems nga. So, pagka meron kang mga formula na kailangan i-memorize and then you have to solve problems, yung calculate problems, then that's helpful. Yung maintenance rehearsal, ulit-ulitin mo lang and then you will be able to solve that problem. But they found out, sabi ni Wiley and Jaros in 2012, medyo hindi siya helpful yung maintenance rehearsal, particularly as a technique, sa creative problems or problems that require creative solutions, which I think reasonable din, no? So, what does this mean? Ano ngayon? So what? If you're trying to solve a problem, it depends on the kind of problem, kung ano yung technique na gagawin mo. So, if it's a technical problem, very structured, then, and you need formulas, and you need, numbers or information right away available, then maintenance rehearsal would help you. Pero pagka creative solutions ang kailangan, maybe you have to have a different approach. No? Baka kailangan mas open yung ideas about solving that problem. Okay? So that's it for this video. That's working memory, which is under short-term memory. So short-term memory is the umbrella term. I'll see you again on the next video.